rise for the academic procession. I, Kevin John, scarce Chancellor of the University of Adelaide, declare open this congregation convened for the purpose of presenting degrees. Distinguished guests, parents, relatives, and especially our graduates, a very warm welcome to this fantastic hall, completed in 1936 and named after its benefactor, Sir John Langton Bonython, who was a great friend of this university and has certainly been used for graduations ever since. I wish to acknowledge the Kaurna people, the original custodians of the Adelaide Plains, and the land on which the University of Adelaide's campuses of North Terrace, Waite, Theberton and Roseworthy are built. This afternoon is a special day. It's a special day for those who are about to graduate. My congratulations to you all on your achievement. I'm sure you will appreciate that this is the start of your educational journey, not the end. We are faced with many challenges and opportunities in our state, in our nation and the globe. And we hope that you, in the years ahead, will provide the leadership to address those challenges and hopefully provide some solutions. You are in a privileged position to have received this education, and I hope that you use it for your own personal advancement and also to help other causes and other people who are in need. Today is also a very special day for loved ones, for parents, for families, because I have no doubt that you have been instrumental in helping our graduates achieve what they've achieved to date. So we warmly welcome both parents, loved ones, and also the graduates. I now call on the Executive Dean of the Faculty of Health Sciences, Professor Alistair Burt, to present the candidates for the honorary degree.
Chancellor, I present to you Professor Robert Norman. Rob Norman was born in the United Kingdom but grew up in Africa. He obtained his primary medical qualification from the University of Birmingham and then specialised in obstetrics and gynecology and hormonal aspects of pathology. He subsequently worked in Zimbabwe, Durban and London and has visited many leading reproductive health centres in the world as a visiting lecturer or professor. He holds a fellowship of the Royal Colleges of Obstetrics and Gynecology and Pathology in both this country and the United Kingdom. He moved to Australia in 1988 and was made Professor for Reproductive and Periconceptual Medicine at the University of Adelaide in 1998 when he became head of the Reproductive Medicine Unit at the Queen Elizabeth Hospital and head of the leading invertive fertilisation group at the time, Repromed Limited. He led this group until 2003 when he established a major research team, the Research Centre for Reproductive Health. Together with Professor Colin Matthews, he established a world-leading fertility unit with Australia's first pregnancies from intracytoplasmic sperm injection, and indeed only the third in the world, pre-implantation diagnosis and frozen eggs. He was the main proponent of single embryo transfer in Australia and secured accreditation as the first clinic in Asia Pacific with ISO quality control. In 2009, he co-founded Fertility SA, a reproductive medicine unit that practices all branches of assisted reproduction. In 2008, he became inaugural director of the Robinson Research Institute in the University of Adelaide, a post that he held until 2013. This represents the leading group of researchers in reproductive and child health and regenerative medicine in Australia. These world-renowned scientists and clinicians work in areas of basic reproduction, cell biology, and stem cells. The Institute places a strong emphasis on clinical, public health, and commercial translation of research, areas that Professor Norman is personally passionate about. He has trained more than 20 clinical fellows and 30 PhDs. His main personal research contributions have been in vitro fertilization and reproductive endocrinology, particularly in polycystic ovarian syndrome, the effect on lifestyle on reproductive outcomes, and periconception medicine. His research successes span the translational spectrum from basic laboratory research to clinical trials and to public health. He has published over 420 peer-reviewed journals, many in the highest-ranking journals, and his work has been cited over 20,000 times. He continues to serve on the editorial board of a number of major international reproductive journals. He's also served on several NHMRC and ARC committees, including leading project grant panels, the NHMRC Research Committee, the NHMRC Embryo Licensing Committee, and the NHMRC Programme Committee. He was awarded an Order of Australia in 2013 for his distinguished service to medicine in the field of reproductive health through contributions as a clinician and a researcher. Professor Norman has received many other prestigious awards over the years. In 2001, he received the SA Great Award for Health for his leadership as CEO of Repromed Limited. In 2007, the NHMRC named him as one of 10 of the best great minds in Australian research. In 2009, his Healthy Development Adelaide was winner of the SA Science Excellence Award for Research for Collaboration, And in the same year, he received the SA Great Award for Science, awarded for the best contribution to science in South Australia. And in addition, the SA Great Award for Health for best contribution to health in South Australia. And further, the South Australian Scientist Award for the most outstanding scientific leadership. In 2013, he received the American Society of Reproductive Medicine Distinguished Leader, a Research Leader Award, one of the highest accolades in his field. Professor Norman has served the University of Adelaide, his profession and this state with distinction. The advances in assisted reproduction to which he has contributed have had a global impact in enriching the lives of many.
I now have great pleasure to invite and introduce today's oration graduation speaker, Professor Robert Norman.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished colleagues, graduates, friends and families, I realise that I stand between you and the most important thing that you've come today, and that is to see people graduate. So I hope you will forgive me as I give a brief talk to encourage the graduates on their journey. I'd like to thank the University of Adelaide tremendously for this honour that you've given me, and also congratulate every graduate on your achievement in gaining a degree from this university. This is in the top 1% in the world, and you and your family have made fantastic sacrifices to get here. So you've got a wonderful start, and I'd like to tell you a little bit about my journey and how I believe it may help you with your journey ahead. I trained in a university college, which was under the University of Birmingham, but it was in a university that now doesn't feature anywhere in any rankings in the world. It was in the middle of Africa. I grew up in a developing country where if I told you the name, many of you would not be able to nominate where it is. And I've spent most of my professional life in an area that academics don't consider to be very glamorous and very good, and that is delivering babies. And my daughter used to explain to my friends, my dad gets women pregnant, and my dad makes babies. So she now is much more cautious about these things. The hospital where I worked delivered about 5 times the number of babies that the current Women's and Children's Hospital does, and we had about 20% of the staff. And I learned a tremendous amount in that environment. I then went and did a postgraduate degree in basic laboratory science, and then I came back to be a clinical scientist. Now, a clinical scientist is someone whose clinical skills are so bad that the real doctors don't accept them, and whose scientific skills are so poor that the scientists don't think they're any good either. However, you need people who can translate between 2 different cultures, whether it's in language or in customs. And I believe that we, as clinicians, can become translators between different cultures and different languages in medicine and science. When you migrate, you lose most of your past contacts, and the people who welcome you are fantastic, but they don't have any of your history. And the University of Adelaide's been a wonderful family to me to welcome me, even though they're not particularly concerned about my past. However, what happens to you in these early years as graduates sets a trajectory for the rest of your life. And my trajectory was set in my early days as a medical student and as a postgraduate. And I'd like to give you 2 examples of how this has happened in my life, and you might, as graduates, want to look and see whether there are things in your life that you'd like to see as well. Firstly, outside my medical school, there was this wonderful green stone statue and it had a picture of an African man holding his stomach in great pain. And it symbolized to us in Western medicine that we could cure this person of an obstructed bowel or infection or even of cancer. However, if you went to the back of the statue, there was this huge lizard all over the back of the man. And this symbolized to us as a reminder that in this culture, that person was not healed until that animal on the back had been removed. And we could heal the pneumonia or this obstructive disease, but that person was not healed in their mind until they went back to their local witch doctor or whatever the name of the person was. And only then, when they'd understood the why they got sick, did they actually feel better. And so I was convinced very early on, working in a different culture, that it's not only the science, but it's understanding the spirituality and community beliefs behind sick people that help us to restore full health. The second experience that changed my life and the way that my trajectory has gone is I met a person who became my most important professional mentor. I looked him up the other day on the internet. He's nowhere to be found. I think he published 20 papers in his life. He got very few awards. And yet, for anyone under the age of 40 in this room, he probably saved your life. His name was Hugh Philpott, and he was a South African doctor who, as a medical intern, went to Nigeria. And for 7 years, he looked after women in labor, and many women died, and many babies died. And he became my professor in my medical school in obstetrics and gynecology. And it was there that he actually transformed Western maternity care. Up until that time, people used to just write notes about labor. And remember, this is the most dangerous journey of your life, is when you are being delivered through labor. And many mistakes were made. And he had the brilliant idea of putting this in a graphical form, which we call the partogram. And within 10 years, every country and every hospital in every developing country had taken this up. He also introduced rules that allowed people from outside communities to get to hospital in time so that their lives were saved and their babies were saved. Not only this, he took a very strong view against racial discrimination. He was expelled from the Medical Association. He was expelled from his church because of his views on equality. This was a man who taught me that it's not just the medicine, but it's also putting together the science and our strong beliefs about the way that we practice. Adelaide's been a wonderful place where I've had a great deal of opportunity to be a leader, and it's led to me fulfilling my potential, and some of my friends will think that that wasn't a good thing. I've been able to practice medicine that incorporates science and really good biology, but it's also involved with restoring relationships and health. I've been involved in some of the most important ethical challenges about donor embryos, about donor gametes, about embryos, about stem cells, and that's been a wonderful challenge. We as the clinicians in the fertility clinic decided to put back all the money that we made into research, and out of that has come the Robinson Research Institute and many other research organizations. So my message to you as graduates is that in your medical school days, you have a course that is going to lead to your future, and that the science and the biology that you learn has to be put together with understanding the culture in which you work and the spirituality and the background of people. A columnist in the New York Times, David Brooks, has recently written about the concept that we develop two resumes in our life. The first he calls the virtues resume, and that's what all of you will be writing to get jobs. And you say what you're good at and you're putting your skills to the marketplace. The other he calls the eulogy resume. That's the one you never hear. It's when you die. And that's when people say how generous you were and unselfish and honest and faithful. And these two resumes often diverge, unfortunately. But you as graduates have the opportunity to put them together so that as you develop your career, the two can go hand in hand. So the medicine that we've been taught as students and young doctors are more than scientific knowledge, medicine and surgery. We're in a profession that understands the deepest needs of the people that we serve and offers hope and meaning to everyone, whether they are physically, mentally, spiritually, or emotionally ill. I wish you well on your journey. It's going to be really exciting, and I'd encourage you to follow the narrow path of service and discovery rather than the grand avenue of ease and self-centeredness. And I'd like to end with a quote that's had a big impact on my life. It's by a man who was murdered by the South American community in which he was working. And before he died, he said, "He is no fool who gives up what he cannot keep to gain what he cannot lose." Thank you.
On behalf of the graduates and their families attending today's ceremony, I would like to thank Professor Robert Norman for his inspiring, humorous and intriguing address today. Thank you. We are honoured that you have taken the time to come and join us on this special day to share with us your experiences and your thoughts. And in particular, thank you very much for highlighting the need to look at the people we serve and look at their needs and not just the science. That's really important. Your encouraging words and your advice to us are greatly appreciated, and they actually remind us too that education places a responsibility on each one of us to make the most of the abilities that we have and to contribute to the betterment of society in the best way that we can. So please join me again in thanking Professor Robert Norman.
I will now receive the candidates for degree. I call upon the Vice-Chancellor.
Chancellor, I, Professor Warren Bebbington, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of Adelaide, certify to you and the whole University that the graduates who will be presented to you have fulfilled all the conditions prescribed for admission to the awards for which they are so presented.
I, Kevin John Scarce, Chancellor of the University of Adelaide, by virtue of the power committed to me by the University, confirm that each graduate is admitted to the rank and privileges of the holder of the award in the University of Adelaide for which they are so presented.
Chancellor, I, Professor Alistair Burt, present to you graduates from the School of Medicine. To the honours degree of Bachelor of Medical Science, Mark James Andrew Fitzgerald. Alexander Fuss. Kartik Iyer. Shane Patrick Sylvandaran. And Simon Tan. To the degrees of Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery, Amelia Ahmad Hatib. Shabina Gulnashin Ali. Maya Uraki. Luke Neville Arthur. Samuel Brock Axford, Atre Bala, Dylan Richard Barnett, Lisa Bishard, Alexander Lachlan Birrell, Emma Jane Brooke, Lauren Julia Brown, Claudia Zen Shao, Antonia Hatting Chan, Natasha Shalwa, Luke Carl Shirhadi, James John Joseph Condon, Victoria Rose Valentina Cox, Michael Stuart Croft, Hung Kwok Dan, Rowan Victor David, Hannah Eilish Davison, Fiona Milan Demerick, Simran Duggar, Tasnia Ismat Disha, Alexander Alan Dolgopol, Hannah Douglas Malloy, Lily Yashin Du, Michelle Runa E, Thomas Andrew Eldridge, Scott Michael Ellis, Jared Scott Fairbank, Alexandra Claire Fawcett, Danielle Joanna Fitzpatrick, Sam Lordison Francis, Mirette Gabrielle, Katrina Marie Gibbs, Jihan Yawaweri, Daniel Mina Jergus, Siu Pei Go, Lisha Gunitalaki, Yayamoni Gowidasami, Madeleine Lauren Grigual, Akriti Gupta, Nok Wang Ha, Kiranjit Kaur Harjit Singh, Rebecca Jane Su Ling Heer, Bridget Carlin Haycoop, Lyle Morris Henderson, Matisha Hayrath, Jarin Herson, Alice Claire Hiscock, Lara Hughes, Kevin Hung, Karim Hussein, Asif Iftikhar Islam, Sophie Mary Adelaide Jarvis. Jing Ting Mabel Quek. Shathana Kalasundaram. Devendrian Kanavathi. Arushi Kansal. Fiona Marie Keane. Rachel Frances Kermond. Anujan Kunasumurthy. Beatrice K. Po Kiang. Sam Brocklehurst Labroom. Shirley Lee. Vivian Cho Q Lee. Yang Lung Wayne Lee. Chu Shung Susan Lee. Wan Xian Liang. Victor Yongyang Liu. Benjamin Chok Hong Lim. Gail Siu Lin Lim. Ebony Yan Yan Liu. Alexander Graham Lovell. Alexandra Lynch. Elizabeth May Line. Sue Ellen Ann Line. Claire Alice McKillop. Lachlan James McKinnon. Hashwarden Mahajan. Zaki Wida Malik. Scott Charles Marshall. Thomas David Maycock. Anna Katerina Megu. Fiona Catherine Mentz. Andre Vincent Mikalski Russell. Georgina Anna Mills. Nicholas Joseph Monterello. Juan Febregon Mundasuk. Rithin Sam Roy Nidjumanil. Neo Ja Kwan Leon. Philip Nguyen. Tu Nat Nguyen. Sean Albert Nicholas. Suzanne Jane Nicholson. Emma Jane Panigas. Evan Peter Papavasalou. Evan Paps. Theone Paps. Dominic Robert Parker. Alyssa Jane Parsons. Rowan Darshan Patel. Andrew John Pederick. Tharani Pedera. Philip Su Meng Boy. Kieran John Pinto. Simon James Proctor, Lisa Mary Raven, Jack Edwards, Carol Hall Ritchie, Bodie Daniel Rodman, Oscar Kenneth Russell, Olivia Jessica Rigorovich, Tanya Saleh, Sei Lu, Tom Nicholas Showman, Jasmine Scares, Pari Sengutuvan, Udish Shakespeare, Alexandra Lee Shelley, Junyi Shi, Xinyi Tang, Jennifer Ann Lee Sim, Matthew Recoy Smith, Brendan Michael John Stagg, Christian Andreas Martin Stefani, Leah Katrina Steppen, Katrina Francis Stranks, Lachlan Donald George Stranks, Gitanjali Subramoni, Salim Sultani, Lip Hong Tang, Piu Sin Thant, Sophie Thu, Luke Hamilton Trigger, Michael Gagarin Vasamala, Ashish Emmanuel Vaska, Kartik Venkataraman, Johanna Marie Warren, Phoebe Brenda Waters, Felicity Ann Watson, Ashini Jayatissa Wiradogowawi, Megan Iris Matilda Wild, Catherine Caroline Wilkes, Robin Margaret Winter, Leo Voigt, Wong Kai Ling, Stephanie Carmen Wong, Sarah Yo, Yong Zihao, and Yong Chen Han. To the degree of Master of Minimally Invasive Surgery, Nava Saravaj Singham Navanitham. And Jonathan Yong. Right. To the degree of Master of Philosophy, Ophthalmology. Thomas? Yeah, good. So to the degree of Master of Philosophy, Medical Science for a thesis entitled Characterizing the Role of Haptoglobin in Experimental Subarachnoid Hemorrhage, Thomas Craig Morris. For a thesis entitled Osteoclast-Associated Intracellular ITM Signaling Molecules in Human Pre-Implant Osteolysis and Rheumatoid Arthritis, Ekram Elias. For a thesis entitled The Chronic Rhinosinusitis Microbiome, Edward John Cleland. For a thesis entitled Curcumin Action in Prostate Cancer Cells and Fibroblasts, Lauren Giorgio. For a thesis entitled Aspects of Retinal Energy Metabolism, Georg Hahn. For a thesis entitled Immune Monitoring of Kidney Transplant Recipients with Post-Transplant Malignancy, Christopher Martin Hope. For a thesis entitled Nitric Oxide and Staphylococcus aureus Biofilms, Defining Their Intricate Relationship in Chronic Rhinosinusitis, Camille Eleza. For a thesis entitled Lack of Demonstrable Harmful Effect of Higher Protein Weight Loss Diets on Bone Health and Nephropathy in Type 2 Diabetes, David Ratnasilan Jesudasan. For a thesis entitled Potential Peripheral Biomarkers for Chronic Pain, Yuen Hai Kwok. For a thesis entitled Pharmacogenetics of Ketamine Metabolism and Immunopharmacology of Ketamine, Yibai Li. For a thesis entitled Lentiviral-Mediated Gene Therapy for Mucopolysaccharidosis, Type 3A, Chantel McIntyre. For a thesis entitled The Effect of Diet and Exercise Interventions for the Treatment of Male Obesity-Induced Subfertility, Nicole Olivia McPherson. For a thesis entitled Aboriginal Patients with Experience of Head and Neck Cancer, Self-Reported Health-Related Quality of Life Assessment in South and Central Australia, Jasmine May Micklem. For a thesis entitled Medical Concepts of Depression in the Palliative Care Setting, Perspectives from Palliative Medicine Specialists and Psychiatrists, Felicity Wei-Yan Ning. For a thesis entitled Mitochondrial Sirtuin 3 and Sirtuin 5 in granulosa and cumulus cells and their contribution to the altered follicular environment in women with either reduced ovarian reserve or advanced maternal age, Liane Pacella, INS. For a thesis entitled Baby Boomers and Generation X in Australia, Health Differences and the Influence of Work and the Workplace with a focus on obesity, Rhiannon Megan Pilkington. For a thesis entitled The Effect of Higher Protein Human Milk Fortifier on Growth in Preterm Infants, Jessica Reed. For a thesis entitled Thrombogenesis in Substrates of Atrial Fibrillation, Carly Deanne Schultz. For a thesis entitled Biomarkers of Resistance to Anti-EGFR in Wild-Type KRAS-BRAF Colorectal Cancer Cell Lines, Shalini Sri Kumar. For a thesis entitled Optimization of Oocyte in Vitro Maturation using Oocyte-Secreted Factors, Jacqueline Suderman. For a thesis entitled The Thermal Grill as a Tool to Investigate Analgesic Clinical Pharmacology, Nicole Martha Sumraki. For a thesis entitled Steroid Receptor Crosstalk in Breast Cancer Cells, Erin Elizabeth Swinstead. And for a thesis entitled Sarcopenia in Older People, Solomon Ching Ye Yu.
Chancellor, I, Professor Alison Kitson, present to you the graduates from the School of Nursing. To the degree of Bachelor of Nursing, Emily Jane A. Church. Hannah Ruth Angelkovic. Tamoya Araki. Emma Nicole Armstrong. Taryn Bruckner. Aisha Louise Bullen. Abigail Grace Cadman. Cherie Jacqueline Cassidy. Jonathan Paul Ewins Chadwick. Chan Hui Hu. Suzanne Su Yen Chan. Gregory Anthony Cobb. Bianca Rose Cooper. Esther Joy Curry. Linley Ann Dodd. Abby Grace Dushki. Lucy Georgia Earle. Deborah Edwards. Nina Ellers. Megan Rose Field. Rosemary Louise Fosdyke. Kirsty Lauren Gosnick. Georgia Irene Catherine Griffin. Catherine Jane Haddo. Daniel John Wisdom Hall. Phoebe Lorna Hammonds. Ashley Rose Hart. Foti Hatsiapostolou. Rachel Sarah Marie Heller. Rosie Isabel Leslie Hill. Emily Jane Hooper, Rachel Ann Horsell, Jessica Brooke Hughes, Gemma Kirsty Ireland, Caitlin Annie Lawless, Tatum Adrian Laurie, Eloise Marie Lemke, Badi Lee, Aisha Likul, Erin Page Lord, and Lopo In, Kwang Ka Dong Lu, Chloe Rose McAlinden, Louise Kathleen McCabe, Belle Tanami Maguire, Ailish Grace Nelligan, Isabella Jazz Newman, Kingsley Parham, Francis Scott Peters, Rachel Lee Flip, Katie Rianne Pullen, Talia Sophie Schubert, Jessica Lee Seeger, Catherine Grace Shin, Shirley Tang Sing Sing, Laura Jade Slee, Emma Margaret Smith, Lauren Lee Smith, Paige Georgina Stapleton, Jordana Thompson, Amber May Todd, Aniela Gishtavashti, Sophie Eliza Weir, Ivy Haiyan Zhang, and finally Maggie Zhu.
Chancellor, every year the University presents university medals to acknowledge the most outstanding graduates in each faculty who have completed a University of Adelaide bachelor's degree with honours or bachelor's degree of at least 4 years duration. University medals are awarded to these students for their consistently outstanding performance across the whole of their undergraduate degrees. I, Professor Warren Bevington, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of Adelaide, present to you the winner of the 2014 University Medal for the Faculty of Health Sciences, Dr. Arkati Gupta. Chancellor, university doctoral research medals are awarded to graduates who have completed outstanding research at doctoral level. This award is the premier award for doctoral candidates at the university. I, Professor Warren Bebbington, Vice-Chancellor and President of the University of Adelaide, present to you the winner of the 2014 University Doctoral Research Medal. For research in the field of medicine, Dr. Edward John Cleland.
It now gives me great pleasure to congratulate all of the new graduates here today. Be proud of what you've worked for to achieve, and remember those who've supported you to reach this end. I wish you every success in the next chapter of your lives and in your career. As graduates of the University of Adelaide, you're also part of an alumni and part of the ambassadors. Over the years, the university has more than 150,000 alumni located in 80 countries throughout our globe. I'd like to take this opportunity also to thank the Mace Bearer and those who have assisted in the organisation today. I'd also like to acknowledge the professors and the academic staff here. Universities are only as good as their teachers, and I think we're terribly lucky to have the gifted academic staff we have at our university. I'd ask all the graduates to remain seated, and I invite everybody else to stand here today and once again join me in acknowledging the graduates and their achievements. Could I invite the audience to remain standing, for the graduates also to stand for the academic procession. I now declare this congregation adjourned.
traerme aquí.